Yes, lads, what is going on? And welcome to season 5, episode 3 of the Tri Sports podcast. Still, I know 2 episodes as of right now, since this episode's gone live, have gone out on the new Tri Sports podcast on the new season 5, and I still have not done a solo episode of the podcast. I've been getting the guests on, and I've just been wanting to make up for lost time, I suppose, and dishing the podcast out as quickly as I can. But I do still need to get around to posting a solo episode of the podcast to tell you all a little bit more about where my fitness is at, my training, and the podcast itself, why I was away for so long, why the name has changed, and there's still some updates I need to do to like the YouTube channel and things like that I'm getting around to now. And the whole setup has changed, which I've mentioned over the past couple of episodes. The quality has improved drastically on the new iMac, brand new camera quality as well. I need to do a solo episode of podcast to go over everything, but I'll do that once, I get a couple of episodes out, get the new season up and running, get the ball rolling a little bit more, and get everything finalized on the Instagram and on the YouTube and on Spotify and things like that. But once that's all done, we will be back in action with the solo episode, talking about all the brand new updates. But for this episode, season 5, episode 3 of the Tri Sports podcast, we are joined with Niall Fergus. Niall Fergus was back on the podcast in 2021, in August of 2021. So like we mentioned in this show, that was nearly 2 years ago now, and since then so much has changed for Niall in terms of his own personal athletics career and journey, and we get into that in terms of how he's shifting over from just running to the duathlon and the triathlon, doing a little bit more cycling and swimming due to some Achilles injury. So we discussed that a good bit in this episode, and as well everything that mini athletics has to offer. Niall recently, 1 year ago now, has gone full time with mini athletics. He is the main master franchiser over here in Ireland, and they are looking to set up more franchises and more classes throughout the country, throughout the counties within Ireland. As he mentioned, there's multiple franchises set over in the main headquarters over in England, and he's trying to grow mini athletics here in Ireland by setting up more franchises in places like Cork, Limerick, Carlow, more classes just within Dublin, more franchises within Dublin. And he's also always looking for more coaches to help run and train in for them franchises. So a lot on his plate at the moment. We get into absolutely everything in terms of Niall and mini athletics in this episode. So I'm really, really looking forward for you all to give it a listen. All mini athletics details from their Instagram pages and their website are down in the description below, as well as the website. So you can head down there in the description and the show notes to give them a follow over on their Instagram pages and to find out more about mini athletics down on their website. So don't hesitate to give them a little check out once you've given this episode of the podcast a listen with Niall Fergus from Mini Athletics. Alright lads, so I am joined with Niall Fergus from Mini Athletics. Niall, we've been having a little bit of trouble with internet connection over the past couple of minutes, but hopefully it holds up enough to get us through this episode.
Yeah, perfect.
So Niall, you were on the podcast back in August of 2021, so coming up to 2 years now. A lot has changed since then for you, as both as an athlete and as part of Mini Athletics.
Yeah, a lot's changed. Yes, we've been continuing on with mini athletics as normal. We just have recently there at Christmas. I became the master franchise of Ireland, so we're looking to expand mini athletics into Ireland. Mini athletics is a franchise, so that means someone is an owner in different parts of, whether it could be, say, Manchester in England, then Liverpool, then Portsmouth, Southampton. So I have an area in Dundalk, Draw the Swords. That's my area I bought off Mini Athletics HQ headquarters. And now I've recently, there at Christmas, bought Mini Athletics Ireland. So I'm now currently looking for people in Meath or South Dublin or Cork or Limerick to come on and buy their place in Limerick or their place in Cork, and buy their area and set up like I've set up, and I'll help them through that process.
So it's currently, and even over on Instagram, it's Mini Athletics Dundalk Draw the Swords. But now, will it be just Mini Athletics Ireland?
Yeah, there is. There's a page now. It's set up Mini Athletics Ireland, so there is a page. It only started there in February or March of this year. So there's a Mini Athletics Ireland page, and that has about 3 posts. And we're still waiting. We're getting the website set up more better on the HQ side. So if people say, if Killian says he's interested set up in South Dublin, then there's a franchising area on the website you can go to, and it'll have a picture of me and a video of me of saying why Mini Athletics is great and why it's work-life balance, and why it's great that you'll be inspiring kids and bringing it to your area, and just what great things it brought for me, and what great things it can hopefully bring for the new person that would set up in whatever part of Ireland.
Definitely, and obviously you're trying to expand to loads of different places. If someone's listening in now and they want Mini Athletics to come to them, what I suppose are the requirements for Mini Athletics to come to your area or even just your county?
If they're interested for me to come to their area, like I'm coming to Navan soon, and there's nobody in Meath. Like I'm looking for someone to set up in Meath, but what I'm doing is I'm coming to Navan in the hope that a parent, normally sometimes parents, they bring their kids and they say, oh God, this is great, and the child's getting great benefit out of it, but maybe they might look to set it up themselves. So they could come to me and say, Niall, this is great what you have here. You have one location in Navan. I'm starting up in Navan in September, but I want someone in me to bring it to Dunboyne, Dunshaughlin, O'Hermehan. So we're starting the case in Navan, and I'm going to be starting it. But in the long term, we want someone to become the Niall Fergus in Dundalk Draw the Swords, say of Meath, and maybe another county, possibly a bigger area. But they can go onto the website. There's a franchising site, a place on the website, and they can. There's an email address, and they can put their email address, and from that they can start the process in looking at the franchising area if they want to set up.
And of course, Niall, unfortunately, you can't be at two places at once. And with expanding in terms of bringing Mini Athletics to different places around the country, that comes with needing coaches. And of course, I was involved with Mini Athletics as a coach up in Alsa for a while. So that's another challenge you're going to face is, yes, you can get the location and you can get the customers within that location as well as the facilities, but for actually to get the coaches there for it to run smoothly, that's another challenge for you.
Yeah, exactly. You do need bodies and people, and I can't be everywhere at once. So I'm going to be in Navan for a few weeks and set up with a coach and train him up just like I trained you up. You were trained up actually very quickly, and you went to it like a duck to water. You were very good. But sometimes coaches take longer to train up. So I'll be in Navan for a certain amount of time. It could be 6 or 8 weeks. I'll probably be there for longer because Alsa was set up before you were set up. But you were very quick to it. But I'll get Alsa that it's, or not Alsa, I'll get Navan that it's running up to a certain point and I'm happy with it, and then I can step away, and you'd be in the hope that someone will see, oh, this great thing is happening, and we can just not deliver it to Navan, but deliver it to Dunboyne, deliver it to Trim, deliver it to and any part of Ireland, but that someone would say, I want to take this on, I want to help the cause and inspire lots of kids, and give classes of toddler classes of 5 to 7 year age classes to my area, and I want to build on this, and I want it to become my job and inspire the kids.
Definitely, and tell us a little bit about, obviously, Mini Athletics is based mainly over in England. So you mentioned there about it's now the master franchise here over in Ireland. You're the owner of it, and you were over in England and you were having meetings and discussing everything to do with Mini Athletics over in Ireland. Tell us a little bit more about that experience.
Yeah, so the last 2 years after COVID there, I've been to the conference. So at the conference we go and discuss different ideas, different speakers come on, and they might talk about mental health. There was this year. They might talk about social media, how to do things social media, like podcasts, and do lives on your Instagram and do reels and all these things that are happening now and translate and communicate better to the public, and how you can get your voice out there and how you can communicate things better to the public and what you're doing and why they should come to your classes. Um, so the conference is very good. You share lots of ideas. In England, there's something like 30 Niall Ferguses. There's in different areas. There's 30 franchises, and in Ireland there's only myself. So in a few years we would look to say that there's 4 or 5 franchises, maybe one in Cork, one in Dublin, the one I have, maybe one in Limerick and Galway. People have expressed interest in 2 areas already in Ireland, and they're kind of on the slow burner at the minute. 2 people have expressed interest, and the reason they've expressed interest is because they're in a certain part of Ireland, could be Offaly, and they're seeing, oh, there's nothing for my child to do in Offaly. There's no classes to go to. There is classes. There could be ballet. There could be other things. I know my daughter goes to ballet and stuff, but there's no athletics. There's no movement classes. So they've seen a gap. They've seen that there's nothing for them to send their child to at such a young age. Walkers, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. I'd like to set up. They've seen it in Drogheda, Dundalk, and Swords. They've seen it somewhere, and they have reached out to us, and we're just waiting on them to get back to us. So there is a huge potential. People have got in touch with us, and we haven't put it up on Facebook or Instagram or anywhere yet to say you can avail of this, but they've come in early.
And how would that change your involvement in mini athletics if more franchises do become prominent throughout the country? Would it take a little bit of pressure off you if you end up getting classes in counties like Cork and all over the country, but at the same time a franchise sets up there, it would take a bit of pressure off you?
Yeah, so in terms of me, I would be the support point for the person in Cork. We'd obviously do Zoom calls or calls over the phone, but I'd also have to go down and do on-site visits to see like the first class if they were launching their first class in Cork in the city. I'd go down for the first class, and they would obviously do a training weekend before that, and we'd do lots of Zoom calls for training. But the first class that they launched, say for 2023 in June, I'd go down and see that class and just oversee it. I would do nothing else. And, it's in their own hands then. Once they've done the contract, done the training, done the Zoom calls, done everything, they would take the class. But for the first class, I would come down and see it and just see the standard and see how well it's done, see how people have reacted to it. And then you would come down in another 3 months maybe and see how it's come on since then.
And of course, the main Instagram account and the main areas where it's currently being run is Dundalk, Drogheda, and Swords. Tell us how they've come on over the past, even since August 2021 when you were on the podcast last time.
Yeah, they've come on very well. I wasn't working full time in mini athletics when I was on the podcast to you. I was having a part-time job in the creche, and I was doing mini athletics, so I was doing 2 things. So since then, February 2022, I came full time. So I'm now over a year full time just doing mini athletics. That's my solo job. So I have a year over my belt or into my belt. And it's been going quite well. It's been going quite well. I've have a salary to pay myself. I have a salary to pay all my coaches. It's going quite well. We've also had a baby in the meantime. We've had Oisin come join us since Christmas. So there's been a lot happening. But I'm very happy that I've gone full time because that was a big thing. And that's what's happened, since then. And now we're looking to go to Navan, and then I've become the Master Franchise of Ireland. So since I was last talking to you, I've gone full time, the Master Franchise of Ireland, and now we're looking to go into other areas in Ireland, as I said.
And you also have summer camps coming up as well, and with the success of Dundalk, Drogheda, and Swords, I'm sure them places are being taken up really quickly. Yeah,
the summer camps are good. Sometimes people say summer must be our busy period. It is busy with the summer camp, but summer camps obviously would be 9 to 1, and people are doing different things in the summer. But I call our busy period kind of September to June, the school period. We work a lot like a school diary or a school calendar. Like obviously in Easter we might do an Easter camp, and Halloween we might do a Halloween camp, but at the same time I might just take Halloween off. Um, but we're definitely like a school calendar, and in the summer we do summer camps. But for August, I'll take most of August off, and then I know in September it'll be full steam ahead.
And obviously, like we've mentioned throughout the episode, you are the main man over here in Ireland in terms of mini athletics. How does that play into your flexibility on in your work hours?
Yeah, like it's a lot of hours. Like your phone's always going. People, well, sometimes if I put an ad up on, I didn't have an ad up on Facebook there recently, but I put one back up, and I've noticed that and maybe it's the summertime or we're going into different areas like Navan and Phillipstown and Dundalk, but my phone has been hopping there the last few days, which is good. But your phone's always hopping. You could be doing classes, and then you could be doing admin work. So, I think in terms of I have to delegate more work, I had a coach with me there recently, and unfortunately she's leaving. But I interviewed another girl there today, and I will be interviewing people. So I have a schedule Monday to Friday in Dundalk and the outer skirts of Dundalk for the school timetable, and I'm looking now for another person to come on board to have another schedule. So we'll have two schedules, so it'll be double the work, and we'll look to go to more places, more schools. So yeah, in terms of last year, it was just me and my schedule, but now to become bigger and to go to more schools, we're looking to have two people on board.
Definitely, and of course, it's not just the weekly classes and the schools that you guys do. Like you mentioned, you have the summer camps, Easter camps, camps during Halloween. We also do things like birthday parties.
Yeah, birthday parties, fun days, July provision. God, like people just come to us and send us an email and say, "Can you do this?" And I automatically probably say when I read the email, God, we do that, but I didn't know we could do that or that was under our services. But a fun day and a birthday party are kind of similar. You're delivering the same sort of classes that might be tailored to a princess birthday party or whatever. But slowly but surely, our services are becoming more like they're becoming, as I say, our services are becoming more broader.
Definitely, and that's great to see, and hopefully more of that can be spread around the country as people begin to open franchises in different counties. But maybe Niall, for people that haven't listened to the other episode of the podcast back in 2021, tell us the main concept of mini athletics and what you'd be in for if you attended one of the classes.
Yeah, the main concept, I would say, fun is definitely one of the main objectives. Fun. They're also going to learn. They're going to learn. They're going to have fun, and they're going to have a big smile on their face. We want them to have confidence. So smiling, confidence, learning, and fun. They would be four of the main things that we want the child to get at the end of the class. They come and they get to be on the podium at the end. So hopefully when they're on the podium at the end, they'll think they're great, they'll have loads of confidence, and they'll want to come back to the next class. And if they go to a different activity or to go to a social event, a birthday party, they'll be more confident with other kids in that. So we want to get them used to different environments and be confident.
No, definitely, and tell us as well if someone's listening now and they live in Swords and they're going to go to the class on Sunday. In a hypothetical sense, tell us what they'd be in for.
Yeah, what to be in for. So if you take a 2 to 3 year old to the toddler Diddy class at 10 to 10, if they come at 10 to 10, everyone will come in. They'll come in. We'll give them a shooting star. We'll give them something to play with, and we'll get them throwing it around and running around and having lots of fun. And the music will be on, the lovely mini athletics music, and then we'll get them sitting down, and we'll wake up our favorite friend, and I'll leave that for the class to happen, who the favorite friend is. But then we'll get them doing games. It could be a team of the beach, or it could be a team of space. We do different teams each week, and they'll do lots of different games, or they'll be running, throwing, jumping, and they won't even know what they're doing. They'll be having that much fun. They'll have races at the end of it, a running race, and they'll get a sticker at the end of the class to say that they had a great time and they enjoyed it, and hopefully they'll have smiling faces at the end of it, and they'll hope to come back.
Definitely. No, there's like you mentioned there, they be having so much fun. The actual team of the game isn't the main thing for the kids, but at the same time they be having so much fun, but they'll be learning new skills like running and jumping and throwing and much more.
Yeah, yeah, they'll be doing all them things as you say. Yeah, you're right.
Definitely. So, no, look, Niall, mini athletics itself, especially since you came on the podcast in 2021, you've become the main franchise guy over here in Ireland as well. You're looking always to expand. You're working with schools. You're doing birthday parties, and at the same time, it's allowed you to go full time in terms of being the master franchiser for mini athletics over here in Ireland. So
Yeah,
that is that's great to hear. But at the same time, yourself personally, in terms of your athletics career, your running career, that has also taken a shift since the last time you've been on the podcast.
yeah. I always kind of said I had issues with my Achilles and that, and it has improved. I think it's improved since we've last been talking. But maybe it's improved because I've adjusted my lifestyle and adjusted my training. Um, I kind of said like, oh, I can't. I've said since the last time I can't run 6 days a week. I have to take a break. I probably only run 2 or 3 times a week, and I cycle 2 or 3 times a week. And if I can, I fit in a swim. So I'm going to kind of triathlons, and I'm gone more to cycling, and I'm enjoying the cycling. Actually, something I didn't think I'd enjoy, but I think you have to adjust if you can't do what you want to do, running or playing football. So I did adjust, and I'm doing more cycling, and I might only be doing 15k for the week in terms of 5 by 3 times a day, 5k by 3 times. So I've adjusted, and I'm doing my heel raises and doing all my exercise and my rehab. So my running has been reduced, and I'm doing more cycling. So I am as a result of that. Yeah.
Definitely. And so is the triathlon, and maybe even just the duathlon, is that the main goal at the moment, the main, I suppose, reason you get out the door and train, and the main way that you've set up your training plan and adjusted your training is for the duathlon and the triathlon as well?
Yeah, that's it. That's what I do now. Like I ran a 5k the park run at the weekend, and I was happy at my time. I just went under 18 minutes, and that was I treated it like a race, like the park run. I did see where I was, and but I think if I run 6 days a week, my Achilles plays up on me. If I don't be doing the rehab, and sometimes it's hard to keep on top of the rehab, and when you have kids and a family and a business, it's hard to keep on top of it. I know I had chats with yourself on keeping on top of it, but you do try your best.
Definitely. So in terms of your Achilles, how it is now to maybe when you were on the show last time, how is it?
Um, it's probably, it's probably, it's hard to know. I was going to say it's probably similar. It's probably similar. The only thing now is if I go out and run 15k for the week, if I done 40k, my Achilles probably would play up on me if I done a higher scale. But it doesn't. I don't allow my Achilles to play up on me because I don't give it enough effort. I don't do enough mileage to say, oh, that it's sore. So I go on the bike and I balance it out. But I know it's kind of 60% okay at the minute. I need to do more rehab, and I need to be in a place where I can run more to test it. So I did give it a good test on Saturday, but I know in my head I need to do more rehab, more like 3 or 4 times a week rather than once or twice a week.
And how is it after your 5k on Saturday? Because I know you came first in that 5k park run as well.
Yeah, it was. The only thing that was wrong was I just had a small blister. That was the only thing. So it was okay, and it does seem okay, but I know it could be in a better place. Last November, October, I was in a great place. I haven't done speed sessions really this summer, and if I do a speed session every week or two and I'm coming out good, then I know it's in a good place. But yeah, it was okay after the 5K. Just had a wee blister, but it was grand. The blister the next day.
And then on a day-to-day basis with your Achilles, I suppose, how does that stand with you, excluding maybe like the cycling or the running? If you have a day where you're just super busy, how does the Achilles feel? Is it a tightness pain? Is it more? Kind of explain the pain to us maybe on a general normal day without training.
Um, yeah, no, it's kind of probably generally fine. It doesn't do anything to me. It doesn't affect me. The only thing I say when it does affect me now is sometimes in the morning. I think one morning, well, I remember on the 1st of January of 2023, I woke up and my Achilles was sore. And I know people always say, oh, your Achilles is going to be sore first thing in the morning. And I remember saying to you one time, mine has never been like that.
Yeah,
But I remember 2023, the 1st of January, I did find a soreness in my Achilles first thing in the morning. And now I think I have a conscious thing in my head that I'm going to be a bit cautious in the morning because it is going to be sore. So the only point when I do feel unsure about it is in the morning, but on a daily 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, it's only say if I get up 7 or 8 that for the first half an hour I'm going to be a bit cautious.
yeah, definitely. So I do remember us discussing one time about how yours used to be a case of you'd wake up in the morning, it would only be kind of after training. But yeah, no, that was similar with my Achilles, and on the same after I run, I can feel it, but mine is a tightness issue because both my calves and my Achilles do get quite tight. So once I kind of stretch them out, both out, foam roll them, use the massage gun on them before and after training, like I'm pretty okay in that sense.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a confidence thing. It's a confidence in your Achilles. Like if you're confident in it, then you will be confident in it. If you're not, you're not. But it's all about as well where is your Achilles, but it's also in your head too, having a confidence about it.
Definitely, definitely. And you mentioned there as well, you're really enjoying your cycling at the moment. We get into how that could improve your running, but talk us through, I suppose, your new, I suppose, endeavour in cycling in terms of your bike and your training and learning about the sport, because it is very different to running.
Yeah, it is very different to running. It is very different to running. I went out on a speed session with a few very good cyclists about 2 months ago, and I knew they were pretty good, and I knew I'd probably find it tough, but it was a different ball game. It was like they were Elliot Kipchoge, and I was out the door with them when they took off. But I didn't know it'd be like that. I thought I'd still be able to see them in terms of see them like be able to see their bike, but within 10 or 15 minutes I could not see them.
And so,
Um,
so what talk to us a little bit about the speed session itself, because a lot of what we do on the show here is in relation to running, and it's great to see that you are cycling as well and trying something new. So maybe in relation to running, how would a speed session look like in terms of cycling?
yeah, well, the speed session, like so they had a route done out like people that have a route done out for a running session, except on a bike it's a bigger route. But I kind of knew some of the route and kind of didn't know the full route. And then when they did take off, I couldn't see them at a certain point, and they were gone. So then I went and done my own cycle. But yeah, like I think there's different terms of speed sessions. Like if you go on YouTube, there was a fella there talking, and he was there like your maximum capacity. So you could do your maximum capacity for 15 seconds, and that could be a speed session. And you take a break for 2 minutes, and you could do this by 12. So 15 seconds by 12, going at your maximum capacity, doing your what is it, your opening up your diaphragm or whatever it is. But then you could also do like a tempo-y kind of for 2 minutes, going at pretty hard, but that's also kind of a speed session. Because then a tempo would be kind of just going for longer intervals, like 20 or 30 minutes, at a good tempo. But speed session can be going for 2 to 4 minutes, say, but they could also be going for a flat out 15 seconds. But when I was with them lads on that speed session, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it looked like. I'll have to talk to Aiden, the fella I went with, but it was as if they were doing a tempo for an hour. but that kind of, they call that a speed session. Maybe it's more like a tempo for an hour. But like we done a race there. It was a league. They do a league, so 6 week league. And last week he said his average for that race was 42 kilometers per hour. His average, and my average was 33 kilometers per hour. So his average was, a lot higher.
Yeah, definitely. So that was then evident, I suppose, in the session you went out with them. You didn't expect them to be maybe as far ahead as they were, but of course, like you said, the triathlon and the duathlon, and just bike training itself is something that you've only recently taken up. So you're always, I suppose, still learning, and at the same time you are you're still improving.
Yeah, like the lads that I went out with that Tuesday night, they call them A1 cyclists. So that means they are probably, I don't know, apart from professional, but they're professional, probably above A1. But they're the A1 is the semi-professional cyclists, and that's in Dublin. So there's a Dublin league, and if you're an A1, you're the top cyclist in Ireland apart from a professional. And then there's A2, and then I think it goes B1, B2, but I'd be probably B2 or C. But I was out with the A1 lads, and that was out of my whatever depth. But I wanted to give it a go, and I did find a group that would be my kind of area. And you'll go around different groups. I'm glad I did find a group.
Definitely. And tell us a little bit about your bike, because you see the triathlons, the duathlons, and the Ironmans, and the cyclists themselves, and they all have different bikes. It's a little bit similar to everyone being enthusiastic about running shoes. So I'm sure it's similar in terms of cycling.
Yeah, it's funny because when I do the duathlons and the triathlons, and if I see the shape of you as a runner, you'll be like, oh God, he must be pretty fast. He's 10, he's lean, but you don't know until he gets going. But then if you see someone's bike and you say it's got these type of wheels, it's carbon frame, that's their weapon. I would say that's what's going to improve them. That's what's going to make them faster than you. So if you pull out your bike from the car boot, and you'd be able to say, oh God, Killian, he looks like he's a good bike. He'll be fast today there. Obviously it helps. And then I told a fella, my bike's only worth €1,000. It's not great. If I got one that was €5,000, I'd go quicker. But then also someone said, it's about the power in the legs. So if I have good power on my legs and I have a bike that's 1,000 like I do, then I'll be quite good. It's not just about the bike itself, it's about the cyclist. So the two have to go hand in hand.
Definitely. And at the same time, the cycling will help your running, even if you're not.
It will, yeah.
Yeah, like you said, even if you're not doing such high mileage, cycling as well will improve your cardiovascular, fitness.
Yeah, I thought I was great on Saturday at the park run. There was a few lads in there, runners. They don't do triathlons or cycling, and I bet a few of the lads. Now I don't know how their training's going or whether they'll say they probably took it as a tempo run or whatever. But I hopped on my bike after the park run, and people are there like, "Did you take the bike and win the park run? That's how you won it, taking the bike." But I, it's. But then, like, I know I can have my injuries, so that's the downflow with me, that my injuries can pop up at the right or wrong time. That's why I'm trying to balance it out with the bike, etc. But it was good to see that with my training, I'm still up at a good level.
So how many times a week are you training now, between the bike and the running and swimming as well? Because I know swimming's not as accessible as stuff like running and cycling, where you can just jump out the door and get one done.
Yeah, no, I definitely do 2 runs. So at the minute I might just do 5k and 5k for the 2 runs, and then cycling would be 3 times a week. And I didn't swim last week, so 3 cycles and 2 runs. But if I can get more in, I'll get more in.
Definitely. And in terms of races coming up and goals, in whether it's the duathlon, triathlon, or maybe even more park runs, do you have anything down on the calendar?
So on the calendar every week now for the next 6 weeks is this league with the bike. So it's called the Bike Station League, and it's in Dundalk. So I done the first league, the first round Thursday, and this Thursday again, it's a second site, it's the second race, and you'll get points tallied up. And it's in terms of, you can have for your leisurely cycle, and in terms of races, like it's supposed to bring you on hugely in terms of cycling, in terms of pace, and there's handicaps. So you go out with the group that suits you. But it is bringing me on. Like I done the Loud Championships 2 weeks ago. Then I did League One there Thursday, and then I'm going to do round two of the league. So this, when it comes up to Thursday, I'll have 3 weeks of kind of races under my belt.
So the league allows you to, unlike when you went out in the training session with the A1 guys, it brings you back down to more people in, I suppose, within your depth.
Yeah, no, I'm as I say with cycling, I'm only in it 6 months, probably properly this year starting off. I've been at it probably 3 years over COVID, but this 6 months has been like, it's been like helmet on. Let's brace it, let's go for it, and I've been giving it my all as much as I can with family and work commitments. But I'm giving it my all, and even doing the bike league, signing up for the bike league, I want to, and I'm trying to do as many of the 6 weeks as I can. I know I'll be away for one of them for a holiday, but it's going to take me on hugely, I think, in terms of, say, duathlon next January, February, because duathlon season's over. So duathlon season will go January, February, March, April, and so whatever I done the duathlon season, like to recap, sorry, I done Blackrock Triathlon last year and finished up with an hour and a minute, and this year I did it in 56 minutes. So there was a huge improvement this year.
Definitely. So it does show that especially even if you're not running as much, the bike and you enjoy it and it keeps you injury free is contributing to your overall fitness. And tell me a little bit about the swimming, because I've listened to multiple podcasts of runners getting injured and then picking up the duathlon, the triathlon, because swimming and cycling isn't as impactful, but the swimming sometimes takes a little bit of a hit because it's not as accessible, and the bike complements the running and the running complements the bike. So tell us how you're trying to fit some swimming into your training and what that swim training looks like.
Yeah, well, swimming, I kind of say when I talk about swimming, I suit myself. So the Blackrock Triathlon involves very little swimming. It's 500 meters, and the last 2 years it's been up to your hips. So this year I swam for 10 seconds, then walked for 10 seconds, swam for 10 seconds, walked for 10 seconds. I think I was in the water for 7 minutes. So I wasn't going out of my depth for the swimming. I did train. I trained heavily, like, well, I say heavily, twice a week. I trained twice for the week for swimming, maybe half an hour each, and an hour long of swimming. But I think I need to, like, that's the one thing I struggle at regarding triathlon. And the sprints are great because then you don't get tested and you only go as far as you can go. Like Ironman, you're going to be in the water for over a mile or whatever. But there's an Olympic distance that I was thinking of doing in Carlingford, where you could be in the water for 30 minutes. And you won't be able to touch the ground of the sea, let's say. And so yeah, that's a big step on from Blackrock. So I would like to do it, and I don't know whether I'll do it this August or next August.
Definitely. I suppose the fact that you could stand up and walk for a couple of seconds, not only did it allow you to keep some energy, but it was also a mental thing as well, where you knew worst came to worst, you could just stand up and stop.
Yeah, so the swimming comes last into my training, and in terms of accessibility, and there's just I really prefer the bike, and I really prefer the running, where opposed to swimming. So I put it last on the only that was coming up to Blackrock Triathlon that time. I said I better start and get some swimming in, that I was coming close to it.
Definitely. So are you now looking to really start incorporating more swimming into your training?
I'm supposed to be, but I haven't said I'm doing the Carlingford yet, and I don't know whether to put it off for another year, because there is other races that I will be tested in the water, and I won't be able to touch the ground, but they won't be over a mile long. You'll be in the water for 30 minutes. So I'm still debating in my head, and I haven't got in the water yet since Blackrock, really. So this week I better get the swimming cap on and just make a decision. I'm going to make a decision this week, about whether I'm going to do Carlingford or just do Port Beach. There's one in Port Beach. I think there's one in Dublin as well. It won't be just as long in the water because it'll be a sprint. Olympic distance is a mile in the water, so it's just the distance.
Yeah, but even my own experience with swimming in comparison to running, it is very very difficult, and it can be scarier compared to running. Just the fact that you are in the water and you can't just stop as easily you can if you're running. So it is a very different to both the cycling and the running, and it's a major downfall for many people that come from cycling and come from running backgrounds as they take on the triathlon. So it is a case of just knuckling down and getting into the water as much as you can.
Yeah, I think it takes up more time, and it's my weakest one. I'd be slower at it. So like, I'm at the triathlon a year and a half or whatever, but I'm doing it at my own pace. I'm not like, right, let's go hell for leather. Like, I have a family. I'm just doing more time in the bike, doing more time at the the running, and I'm not really, not that I'm not bothered, but like I'm just doing it at my own capabilities, and I'm doing it at my own time frame. I'm not, I'm putting more time onto the cycling rather than the swimming. But I'll see each year as I go along, and as if I get more time on my hands.
Definitely, no, definitely. Like you said, it does take up more time rather than just jumping out the door for a run or a cycle. But it'll be great to see, Niall, how you come on, whether it's within the duathlon or the triathlon. But Niall, if anyone was listening into the podcast and they want to get in touch with you for any reason, whether it's for to join one of the weekly mini athletics classes in Dundalk Trot of the Swords, whether it's to get it started in terms of getting a franchise set up around the country, or just for any questions for getting involved in a school or birthday parties down the line, how can they go about doing that?
Yeah, I would say go on to the Instagram page, Mini Athletics DDS. So that's Dundalk Drogheda Swords. So D for Dundalk and D for Drogheda and S for Swords. Go on to the Instagram page or go on to the Facebook page, Mini Athletics Dundalk Drogheda Swords. That'll be the best place. And then there's miniathletics.com is the website. So they'll be the three protocols I go to.
And in terms of someone starting a franchise in a different part of the country, what does that process look like? What does that entail? What is required? Because of course, mini athletics is big over in England, and it's you're now the head of the master franchise here in Ireland. So it's not just anyone at any time can start up a franchise. So what are the requirements? What would that setup process look like?
Yeah, the requirements would be you could contact me on them three protocols, the Instagram, Facebook, or the website. Contact us there. And once you contact us, then we would say, right, go onto the website, have a look at the franchising section. The franchising section would be like, right, this is what a franchise is, this is what's going to happen. So you'd read that. If you're happy with that, happy with everything, then you would contact us again. We would set up a call and we would look at your area. So say your area was Limerick, Galway, and Clare, because that would be a nice big area. Limerick, Galway, Clare. It's not just specifically Limerick. It'd be kind of like I have Dundalk, Draw the Swords. It would be like it's there's an hour between say Limerick or Galway or whatever it is. So we'd look at your area. We'd say, right, this is the population. Um, so mini athletics will do well. There's lots of kids, there's lots of families, and we're happy with it. Then we would look at, so that'd be Zoom call one, then Zoom call two would be, what's the costings behind it? How much would a child pay into the class? What would birthday parties look like? What would summer camps look like? What would all the services look like? How much would I have to pay to be a franchise? Am I happy with it? So then once the area is done, once the finance bit's done, then we'd hand over the contract and we'd say, are you happy? They'd read the contract. If they are, they'd sign it. And then we'd get into the training weekend and we'd get into you launching your first class, say next January or whatever it is.
So it's a bit of a process in the sense, but of course, if you're taking up three big areas, there is a lot that goes into it in terms of finding if those areas are worth setting up in terms of people's interest within those areas, finding the facilities as well, and coaches. So it isn't an overnight thing. It is a thing that takes a while. Even yourself, who was the only person doing mini athletics over here in Ireland, but at the same time, you couldn't go full time when you first started.
Yeah, like when I first took on mini athletics, I was thinking about it. Like as you say, it's not an overnight thing. So I thought about it and said, yeah, I want to do it. I want to do this. Brilliant. I want to do it. Then I had minute thinking about it, and I said, no, I don't want to do it. It's too much. It's too much responsibility. Blah 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 blah. Then I got an email back from the owner, and he said, right, I hope when Mini Athletics does come to Ireland, you bring your kids and they have a great time. And when he said that, then I said, no, I don't want to bring my kids to it. I want to set it up. I don't want the opportunity to have passed me. I think mini athletics is the best thing I've ever done. I absolutely love it. I want to inspire kids. I want to bring them happiness. I want the next generation to see that. I want it to be a stepping stone for their athletics career, for their football career. It doesn't have to be athletics, it can be their swimming career. It's just all about getting them started. Mini athletics is about getting them started, giving them confidence, and then moving on to the next point. I love it.
Definitely. So down the line, what are some goals, whether it's in the near future, in the long term, for mini athletics, and for yourself?
Yeah, I think the goals would be get our first franchise, get our first area, have someone in place, give them the support, and for them to be a success. And for them to be a success. Mini Athletics is 4 years old now this year, just there the other day. And yeah, I want us to be 5 years old, 6 years old. Apparently, if you're 10 years old, your business is there forever to say. If you've made it to 10 years, then hopefully to say you won't fail.
Definitely, but no, of course, we'll leave links to the Mini Athletics website and the Instagrams down in the description below, so anyone can head over and find out more details and get in touch within any area that they feel fits them and their life. So obviously we wish you all the best with Mini Athletics. We'll once again have you on the podcast in the future. Hopefully it won't be as long as it was last time. When more things come up at any time, if you need to jump on, just let me know, and as well, especially if you set up a couple more franchises in the meantime.
Yeah, that's perfect, Killian. Thanks for having me back in.
No problem at all. It's always an honour, and obviously I'm sure we'll be in touch as well in the meantime. Of course, Mini Athletics have done great things over the past 2 years supporting this podcast as well, so do really appreciate that. And like you said, in the near future we'll definitely have you back on.
Thanks, Killian. Thank you. Thanks very much.
No problem at all. And as well, for everyone watching and listening at home, we do really appreciate it, and we'll see you all next time. Bye bye.